Hey guys, welcome back to the Elevate HD podcast with your host, Holly Davidge. Today, I'm joined by my teammate, Matt Strong. So this is episode 9. So Matt is a co-founder of the Physique Collective. He's also an online physique coach. And as I said before, he's also a teammate and a good friend of mine. So Matt, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me on, Holly. I think compared to some of the other guests you've had on, I think I'm probably a bit low down the rankings, but I'm very honoured to be on. So thank you for having me.
Don't be silly. No, the goal of the podcast is to get kind of a well-rounded review of everything physique development. Everyone has their role, So I thought I would get you on because I think it'd be really interesting to discuss both your journey, both as a bodybuilder and as a physique coach, but also like the building and the birth of the Physique Collective. So obviously I joined last October, but it was running for over 6 months before that. But what got you into just training in general and then kind of leading on to becoming a physique coach in your own right?
Yeah, so I wouldn't definitely class myself as a bodybuilder really, but I'll go from the start. So I was quite a fat kid growing up, and I remember when I was younger, like watching all the classic. So I'm a bit older than all the other Physique Collective guys. I'm 34, 35 this year. So I grew up in the golden era of like action movies. We had like Rambo and all the Arnie films, and I remember being there in the summer and like between the years, and I remember watching like Rambo or Rocky or whatever. I think I'm gonna come back to school next summer. I'm gonna be in great shape. Obviously, I didn't, but I started weight training, and I was like proper into it. Didn't have a fucking clue what I was doing. It's like arms 4 times a week. So nothing's changed there, but it's the same programming. But I just got into it, and then that kind of progressed for me with. So I'm just going to move my mic because it's a bit far away. I got quite into that, and then I started playing rugby to a decent level, and it was more like strength and conditioning based, or like performance based. Obviously, still like as a young lad, you're still doing like chest and guns as much as you can. But it sort of developed more into like a performance-based thing, and it wasn't really about sort of developing the physique, just getting as good as I could at rugby, and then sort of really realised I loved it, and I was doing all sorts of, like alongside strength and conditioning. I started looking at like West Side powerlifting, so I really got into like learning about that, and then it was Joe DeFranco, which is like a massive throwback for loads of people. Like he did a lot of NFL type training, and then it was getting into stuff by like local James Smith on the Elite FTS forums, really going down that sort of route. And I went to uni and did my undergrad in sports science. The aim was initially to play professional rugby, and then I got injured, realised I wasn't ever going to recover or be good enough. So I kind of didn't go down that route, but I thought I'm going to get into strength and conditioning coaching. So I went down that route, and it was still very performance-based for me. A lot of work around like fixing my knee up. And then over time, once I realised strength and conditioning, the actual industry, again, probably wasn't for me. I ended up going into a more corporate role for a number of reasons, which I can go into in a bit if you want. And then just, I guess, I was always, like, enjoyed staying in shape. I just did a number of programs. I did competitive powerlifting for a couple of years, so a lot about that. And then I was always like very lean, but I was that classic guy who never really put on any body fat because I was scared of getting fat. I was a fat kid. I was in my late 20s, and I was lean, but I was about 220 pounds at 6'3", which is not particularly big. And then I basically was like, right, I need to get out of my own way here. I know I've been following Joe for a while, spoke to him quite a bit. So I hired Joe, and then we just got into more physique development type training. Put on about 50 pounds in the first year. Not all of it was good. I looked like a melted candle.
You're one of the bloke gods.
Well, I actually am in the bloke gods group. I'm not one of the original members, but I was brought in. I think when they saw my bloke status, like 120 odd kg, looking like a melted candle. They're like, this guy fits the bill. And then diet down. I've sort of been doing bulking and dieting phases. I sit now quite comfortably around like 245 pounds, and I've always loved training. There's always been, again, I've got no interest. I've spoken a lot about this. no interest in stepping on stage. Not because it scares me or anything like that. Like, I do a lot of public speaking. I love that sort of stuff. And I would have thought it actually quite appealed to me, because I like being up on stage doing things. I thought, oh, this will be a bit of me. And it just hasn't appealed for whatever reason. A lot of that is just what you have to sacrifice to get there. And I'm a big proponent of living life, so it just doesn't really align with me. But the whole being disciplined, training, I'm huge into self-development. So that's something really like I enjoy doing. And just that competitive element. I'm a very competitive person, but it's almost like I've got an ability to get better every time I do it. And I always love training. And over time, that's just got me back into coaching as well. So it's always going to be something I do. I think the minute I can't train, I think, like, what's life really for? Like, I love it so much, but it's very much like I describe it. You know, a lot of that. You see a lot of people. Bodybuilding is their life. For me, it's going to sound a bit deep. But it's an analogy for the way I live my life. So it's about showing discipline, being able to be committed to something, being able to develop yourself as something, like invest in yourself. And I can translate that to every other element in my life, rather than that being the sole thing I'm focusing on. And that's kind of like me in a nutshell with my training sort of stuff.
Yeah, so it's similar to me, because I started out as quite a chubby child, and I've been through all the.
I don't believe that for a second, Holly.
What?
I don't believe that for a second.
No, I was a very chubby child. I did Weight Watchers when I was 16. I've done Slimming World. I've done all of those kind of things. And I suppose the reason why I wanted to get on stage at first is because when I was younger, I wouldn't even get in a bikini on the beach, let alone on stage. So I want to look back and say, like, I wish that girl could see me now and see me actually stepping on stage in a bikini, like when she wouldn't even go to the beach in a swimsuit. Like, so yeah, I do understand that kind of stuff.
When you say that, because when I was talking about my Rambo story, I used to not want to do the swimming days at school because I didn't want to get my shirt off in front of people. I was like that self-conscious. I didn't want to get my shirt off. And I was thinking, oh, imagine if I look like that guy, I'll be happy with myself. And it's weird how we got these like perceptions. Like now, like we just give a fuck. Like we take photos, put it on Instagram, we're like, oh, fuck. But like back then, you do care.
Do you ever think it's so weird when normal people see our check-ins on Instagram? They're like, what are they doing, posing like basically naked in their kitchens? Like, it's just so strange.
Yeah. It is weird, but I think like it kind of doesn't really mean anything anymore. Like, it's just kind of like, this is just my progress. And I guess for me, my checking thing's almost a little nod to myself. Like, yeah, you can actually live like my life is probably, the reason I don't consider myself a bodybuilder is I live a really normal life. I go out a lot, I go on holiday a lot, I go out drinking a lot, I go out eating a lot. I do everything like wrong, quote unquote, but I do everything else right. And it's almost like, well, you can kind of do both. Like, I'm don't wrong, no one's going to mistake me for Chris Bumstead, but like, got an acceptable physique for someone that does all that stuff. I'm like, well, actually, like, I'm going to fucking put a check in up. You know what I mean? And obviously, you're competitive, and now, like, that's pretty cool to think back and think, like, how proud younger you would have been of you now.
Yeah, no, and also like I'm the same as you. When I'm not in a prep situation and I'm in off season, I'm very much all about living my life and eating and drinking and going out and have a good time. Like,
shout out Hungry Holly Diaries.
Hungry Holly Diaries is loving life right now. So she's making the most of the rest of the off season. But I've never been one of those people who's always on prep, because I know that's something that some bodybuilders advocate. And I just know that I need that time to switch off and be a normal person. And that makes such a difference to have that experience for your own clients. So you lead by example, because you're not expecting them to be robots. So it's good to show them you can do both.
Yeah, I mean, I always, before lockdown here, I was going away like 6 times a year abroad. Like, I'm not really into like expensive hobbies. I've got a nice car, but like it's nothing like Christian or anything like that. So that I consider nice, but I don't spend money on crazy shit. For me, it's like holidays. So, and I see so many people, like bodybuilders, and like male and female, they don't go away because they lose the ability to track stuff. I think, fuck that, I want to go to as many countries as I can. So like this year, I've just booked in loads of stuff, got quite a few things in the diary. I'm like, right, I'm fucking off. Like, and if I put on a little bit of fat when I'm away, like memories over body fat, I think I'll take that, you know?
And you can always lose the body fat. Like, it's only a temporary thing. It does not matter.
I always lose weight when I go away anyway. I can't eat that.
That's the thing about men that annoys me, is that they're like, oh, you know, I just ate what I wanted on holiday, came back 5 kilos lighter. I'm like, I think when I did Slimming World, I got really small. I think I was like 8 stone 5. Obviously, no muscle, just like skinny fat,
Yeah.
because they don't like when you exercise. Went to America for 3 weeks and came back 10 pounds heavier.
I mean, I went away. I went away before. I won't name it. I won't name and shame my mates where we went because they'll know. But he dieted before he went away, and he come back, and it was probably like double that.
Oh my god!
But first day, he was like, "I'm on the fucking ribs and the lot." Right, bro. It's not all we can eat for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It wasn't all we can eat for 3 weeks.
Oh my god, no, that's a terrible decision.
I know, good, right? But it's it was funny to watch from my point of view.
Yeah, it's entertaining for me. So that's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh god. So following on from, you joined Joe to kind of get into more serious training and stuff like that, and then you started mentoring with him then to become kind of a better coach, didn't you?
Yeah, so that was a bit of a funny one. So I was in a corporate world. So my background was originally a master's in sports science. I was working professionally in strength and conditioning. I had to take a segue out of that. My dad got very ill, and I moved back down to Exeter. There were no jobs available, and I ended up just going, "Fuck it, I need a job."
Mhm.
When I started a job in sales, and it was for a mechanical engineering company, and turned out I was like, I'll do this for 6 months. It turned out I fucking loved it. So I ended up progressing. Like, I'm a very ambitious person. I love just progressing, and I sort of did quite well through there. I joined another company, did well there. And when I joined Joe, I just moved to another company, and I was one of the regional managers. And I joined it with Joe because I just wanted that accountability, like I said, get myself out of my own way, which is what I always encourage clients to do. Like, I've got a lot of coaches who work with me, and they coach people. They can coach. I knew how to coach. I can easily coach other people. I coach professional athletes. You can't fucking coach yourself because you're like, well, I'm a special snowflake, so I don't need to like fuck.
No rules apply to me.
None of this rules applies to me. I would bulk for 2 weeks and stop. So I get a bit of water retention, but no, I'm getting fat. Stop. So I was like, I need Joe. So I started working with Joe, and me and Joe, without bigging myself up too much, I can sort of talk on his level. Obviously, not as intelligent with the drug stuff at that point, but we can talk on a similar level with regards to like physiology and biochem and things. And he was like, "You should get into coaching." And I was like, "No, man, I really enjoy what I'm doing. Like, I've done coaching before. It's just not really for me." And then as time progressed, I took on a few clients, and I just thought, yeah, I want to know a bit more about this. And Gareth started working with Joe, mentoring. And I thought, yeah, that would be helpful for me. I'll jump on a call with Joe, sort of see how I can upskill myself. Because I was always very much, regardless, I was a member of MASS. I used to go on Stronger by Science, Alan Aragon's research review. I was always very much up to date in the latest research anyway, because I was just a bit of a nerd. So it was just applying that to a bit more knowledge with regards to PEDs, all that sorts of things. And then you got to the point where I was like, you know what, actually, I probably would want to get back into coaching again. So I've got a couple of clients, I'm really enjoying watching them flourish. I'm enjoying progressing myself through coaching. And then obviously met Gareth, me and Joe become very close, met Christian, and then kind of the next thing on from that was Physique Collective, which I guess is probably your next question.
Yeah. So yeah, how did that come about? Like, whose idea was it? Does anyone want to claim that it was their idea?
I can talk you through this quite easily. So it's actually Gareth's idea.
Okay, give him credit.
So Gareth's idea. So initially, Gareth said we should do like a website sort of thing, like work together, and then we just all chatted, and we all were sort of the right people. We all got very well. We had the right viewpoint into the industry. We weren't sort of, as we were speaking about before we started recording, we haven't got this like massive cognitive bias towards anything. We're not in like any specific camp. We're very evidence-based, or at least try to be as much as possible. Like everyone's got cognitive bias, right? We're not human if we don't, but at least we try and be aware of it, call each other out, got the right viewpoint. But we're also, none of us are really bodybuilders. So for us, we're coaches first and foremost, that coach bodybuilders. But also, we saw that like sort of kind of gap in the market of this community. Like from outside in, for me, bodybuilding is always very individual, inclusive, quite selfish sport. And it's not, because when you get in it, you realize competitors are very giving, that most people are very, very caring. And actually I've not really met anyone that's horrible in this industry. Like I've got on well with anyone. I've met some of my closest friends from it. But from the outside in, it's very insular. And we wanted to like sort of change that and have an opportunity for people to be able to speak to one another. And we thought, like, we'll make this website and it'll be a community, and we'll have this coaching team, etc. I came up with the name, so I'm claiming that.
Okay.
Well, I came up with what I can't remember what it was called originally. It was something. It was like Physique something, and then we changed it to Physique Collective. So Joe's not having that one. But it was kind of then we always just banding ideas around. We sort of created this thing between us. But I'll give Gareth his due, his idea. And then we originally went live after like months of planning in January of last year, and there was months and months of us just sort of working around like how we get this thing started and things from there. But it was just a real like a passion project, something just to really change. I hate when people say change the game, because it's not. There's some fantastic subscription websites out there, and obviously we mentioned before, like we're trained by JP. You've got Supplement Needs, you've got Muscle Mentals when that was there. You've got John Drew University. You've got all these great resources for various different like tribes, so to speak. And we were just trying to bring our own niche of those people that probably don't fit into any one of those like hardcore tribes. And it was just really cool to sort of watch this community flourish. And when we started seeing like all the Physique Collective team, like affiliated athletes and people just at shows, it was like, fuck, like this is actually being something now. And it was so cool to be able to go and support people. And especially for me, like bodybuilding is not something I'm particularly interested in myself, but I love watching people go and compete. And watching like the guys compete last year, like, obviously watched Christian, watched Leon, watched Ryan, all those boys compete, Ryan, watching them compete was like, we had a big group of us watching. And we were kind of like the only coaching team doing that. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of coaches that go to a lot of shows, and I see them at every single show. It's like one guy. It's like not like a team or a community, but like I feel like we've created that. It's something that I'm genuinely very, very proud of.
Yeah, that's something I've noticed and really enjoyed since I joined. So I joined back in, I think it was either end of September, early October, and then just having that crew to go to every event with. Like we went to FitX Dartford, there was a whole team of us. Like even like the weekend before last when we went to the Two Bro show, there was loads of us sitting there, and then all going out for dinner afterwards and everything. It was just like, it's so nice to feel a part of a little like a team or like a family, instead of like I would go to those events before, but I'd kind of just be representing myself. I'd be on my own, I might go with a friend, but it's just so nice to be part of something bigger and so supportive. It's just really cool.
Yeah, that's one really cool thing is like we have a laugh, we have a bit of banter, don't we? But it's not like we're not like trying to be bitchy. Like there's almost like inherent, people think bodybuilding is very bitchy, and anyway, it can be. You're judging people on their external like facade, aren't you? But we're pretty good in terms of like, we don't do that. We don't get drawn into that sort of stuff, and we're just trying to be as supportive as we can be within the industry. And it's funny, like obviously yourself, that was we met at the FitX last year, the expo. I was chatting to you and I was like, we need to get Holly on board. Because, firstly, we didn't have a biomechanics expert, and just from talking to you, you can see like you're making this a bit more interesting. And it wasn't just like when we got on the Physique Collective podcast, Gareth and I was talking. It wasn't just you just talking wank speak, as we call it. Like, you're not trying to baffle people with bullshit. And there's a thing we always used to say in sales is bullshit baffles brains. You weren't doing that. You're actually breaking this stuff down really simply. Added to the fact that how many female biomechanic experts there in the industry? Like you're like the only one. We were like, that's ridiculous for one. So it was like it sort of ticked every single box for us. We were like, well, firstly, you need a platform because you're fucking good. Added to that, we were like, well, we're missing a trick by not having somebody who can explain this shit really easily. But also, like, why is it just old men talking about this? Like, this is bollocks. I'm from mechanical engineering. It's the most antiquated industry there is. Like, you get old men who are like, oh, like, sweetheart, like, if there's a female engineer, they think she's the receptionist. You're like,
oh my God,
we're living in the 21st century, and it's like, why have you not got this platform? We're like, right, grab Holly now. It's mad, like, and just being able to like do things like that is just so cool. Like giving people that need that platform, should have that platform already. We're giving them the opportunity. Like even with Ryan and like Sophie and Leon with their posing, like giving these people opportunity to put themselves out there. It's like, this is fucking cool. Like that's awesome that we can do that as well.
Yeah, because I remember like I've been a member of the site pretty much since the beginning. And I remember when I got more into kind of following you guys and talking to you all individually and then meeting you at Fit Expo, I said to my mum, I was like, Mum, my goal is to be a part of the Physique Collective. Like that is what I want to do. I was like, maybe I'll do it next year. Like I'm going to just build up my Instagram, just make sure I'm putting out really good content and prove to them that I deserve to be on the team. And then literally in September, I get a message from Joe, be like, oh, we'd like to book a call with you. And I was like, what? No way. And then I got on the call and afterwards I rang my mum straight away and I was telling her what happened because I just couldn't believe that it was so quick. Because I was expecting to work up to that level because obviously I'm still quite new to the industry relatively. So yeah, it's just so cool to be a part of a team like that and to feel supported and feel backed and to have that platform, as you said, to demonstrate your knowledge, because it can be hard going it alone, as we were talking about before the podcast, in such an industry that's so saturated with information overload. It can be hard to stand out, so to have like a team backing you is very nice.
Well, the thing I said before is like, so I've come from strength and conditioning is a really weird industry because everyone goes, you need to earn your dues, and it's like, surely it should be a meritocracy, right? And it's the same for sales. Like people that have been doing this job for ages who are clearly worse than you are viewed as better. It's because they've been doing it for so long. It's like, we need to take a leaf out of the book of like people actually in the sporting community or in more modern industries where you're based upon what you can actually do. It doesn't matter if you're 18, if you're good enough, you're good enough. You don't need to earn your stripes. And in your case, clearly good enough. And it's like, well, why are you not giving that platform? You don't need to earn anything. Like, I remember having a conversation with my old job. There was a guy I wanted to hire, and my director said to me, I was a bit young, and I said, if I was in charge of Barcelona and I had 16-year-old Messi playing, you wouldn't give a shit. I said, if he's good enough, he's good enough. I'm hiring him. I said, that's how it works. And I'm like, it doesn't matter how old someone is, anything like that. If they're good enough, they're good enough. And that's the case for you. It's like the cream will always rise to the top. And you can see that like, for you guys and people. It's like, why are we living in this like the old way of viewing shit? It's so funny.
Yeah, it's like everyone thinks you have to do your time first.
Nah, if you're good enough, don't get me wrong, there's obviously an element of that. Like you can't just go off and become an expert like overnight, but you're clearly very good at what you do. So it's like, well, give you the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, I think as we were talking about, like lockdown definitely like accelerated my knowledge and skill set because I was unlucky that I didn't get furloughed, but in my other I was working the whole way, but in my spare time, apart from that, I was just booking I did RTS, I did Integra, I did all these different educational things because I just couldn't stop learning. That was what I got addicted to. So some people took up like pogo sticks and stuff. I was just obsessed with learning. So so yeah, that was how I managed, because I tend to like, when I feel like something in my life is subpar, I overcompensate by just delving into books and just
I'm a bit of a nerd as well. I think probably says something about our personality type, but it's fine.
It's working so far for us, so
it's fine.
Yeah,
it's just like saying Physique, it's just been this like thing that's grown, and it's so cool that people like know us, which is like a crazy thought. And I've got loads of clients in Australia, and they're like, oh, I was speaking to someone the other day about Physique Collective. I'm like, that blows my mind.
So weird.
How is this a thing? And it's like, well, it is. And yeah, I'm really proud of what we've achieved. Obviously, we've got a long way to go before we get to where we want to be. But yeah, I'm very happy with what we've done so far. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like when because I work all over the country, so I go to train at loads of different gyms, and if I wear my Physique Collective jumper and someone comes up to me like, oh, are you the Physique Collective? Like, it's so weird. You feel like you're famous. It's really strange.
It is weird. I love it though. I just think like it's nice to be able to put some cool information out there that's actually like helpful. Our entire motto was Physique Development Simplified. That was our entire thought process. Is everyone likes to make themselves sound as smart as possible. We were like, no, we're just going to dumb it down. Like, you'll know, it's a quote from Einstein. It's like, make everything as simple as possible, but no more. Like, I can't remember the exact quote, but so basically, make everything as easy to understand as you can. If you don't understand it, won't matter.
Yeah.
Probably not even Einstein, but yeah, it's something like that.
Someone said it. Gandhi.
I'll refine the quote.
Yeah, because I think what's happening nowadays in Instagram is because it's becoming very competitive. I feel like a lot of coaches are trying to impress their peers rather than clients or potential clients. So that's what we are trying to avoid with the Physique Collective, is to make it simple, understandable, practical, implementable, without just talking for talking's sake and trying to sound smart just to beat everyone else.
Yeah, I found the quote. It's everything should be as simple as it can be, but not simpler. There you go.
There we go.
It was Einstein. So
okay, it was Einstein.
But you're 100% right. It's, knowledge is useless without application, isn't it? So you can talk, wank speak all day, but unless you can actually go and apply that, what's the point of knowing it? Right? Yeah. And that's kind of half the battle. Is we all like to know all these things. A lot of us go into like, we want to know everything. It's like, well, how does that help us become better coaches? And it's or how does that help that athlete anymore? If it doesn't help them, it's like, well, how much more complicated do we need to make this?
Yeah,
and you're right. So a lot of people trying to impress other people. And I always think you probably don't know this as well as you're acting like you do.
Yeah, and I was definitely guilty of that. Initially, when I started learning about all that stuff, I would learn exactly what Integra or RTS taught me, and I would spew it out the same way. Whereas you need to be a bit of a translator. So the information needs to come down to you. Then you need to say, okay, what part of this is going to be applicable to my clients? What's going to be helpful? What do they want to know? What do they care about? And then you translate that information into something useful and understandable for them. You can't just spew out what you've learned, because no one's going to listen because they can't take it away or use it for anything.
I think everyone's done that, to be honest. I always think I'm obviously a lot older, so I've done all this shit before, and I spent a long time training like sales teams. So I had to make it as fucking simple as possible. So I tried to carry that forward to my coaching. Don't always get it right, but you try. Like, as long as you're aware of yourself, you can at least give it a go and try and make it as simple as possible, can't you?
Yeah, it's definitely trial and error. Because even in my coaching, like I used to have really complicated coaching sheets that some of my clients were like, Holly, I just don't like this. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have to adapt. Like, I love data. Like, I'm definitely like a blue personality type. I love data. I love Excel spreadsheets. I love all the formulae that goes with it. Some of my clients just don't, and they don't want to do it. So that's fine. I have to adapt my methods to them.
Well, I think that's what coaching is, though. And this is something I see a lot of people, they're like, well, that's how I do it. That's how I coach. Well, that's not coaching. That's telling someone.
Yeah.
So coaching is the ability to work with people. And I had a call with one of my clients last week, and I sort of said to him, like, are you enjoying the stuff? And he was like, I don't enjoy this, but I'm scared to say. And I was like, why? I was like, it's not the Matt Strong show. It's like, I want to get the best out of you. And if you don't enjoy it, I need to know. And it's like, I don't really give a shit what you do as long as you're getting better. That's kind of where what you're saying there is adapting that to the individual. Some people love giving as much data as possible. I'm one of those people. I'll give Joe all the data he wants. What other people like, that's stressing me out. Don't do it then. Don't do that. Like, with the last thing we want to do is stress you out with the data that I want to get from you.
Yeah, it's like remembering that it's coaching and not dictating. Like, you're not a dictator, you're a coach. So you need to adapt the method based on them and their feedback, and not just have one way for everyone, because that's just not going to work.
Well, it's not coaching, is it? Like I say, but
yeah, exactly.
It's a funny old game.
I know, and it definitely takes time to discover that for yourself, because you can set yourself up and be the most educated person, but until you get in the trenches and make the mistakes and learn from the experiences, you're never going to be a good coach or someone who can understand people and work with them and change your ways to suit them.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I'm very grateful for, is I've had a lot. So my entire life, I've done some form of like customer facing role. So my parents owned a shop growing up. I was always, from the age of 14, I was in front of people. Always had to speak to people. I worked at bars, restaurants, cocktail bars, nightclubs. Growing up, worked in sports. I dealt with a million different people. I obviously worked in sales for a long time, so it was face to face. I ran a sales team, had to coach and train a lot of people there. All that skill there is like, you don't really realize at the time, but it sort of set you up to go into this industry and be like, well, everyone's different. Everyone needs a different approach. Some people need stick, some people need carrot, some people need explaining, some people need simple. Everyone's different, and don't get me wrong, I don't always get it right, but try, and at least I'm aware of what I'm doing. So you can always try and tailor that. And sometimes the face doesn't fit. That's something we always used to say in sales. If you get given an account, and sometimes you're not the one to look after that. The face doesn't fit. And that's not a personal thing. Sometimes your personalities aren't going to match. It's the same, like it's the same for life. Sometimes it just doesn't work.
Yeah, you don't need to necessarily take it personally if the coaching relationship isn't a good fit, because not every, I don't know, accountant works with their clients or vice versa. You know, like there's in every other field of life, there everyone understands that there are matches and there are people that just aren't compatible. So it makes sense.
I never take that sort of stuff personal. Like it's always got to be a professional element to things. Like someone leaves, you're like, well, best of luck. Like, honestly, I wish you had the best. And I don't think there's any like bad feeling about it ever.
Yeah, no, definitely, because you don't want to start like, because clients that leave can always come back as well, and often they do. It's just like not the right time for them, or they have different priority at that time, because a lot of our clients aren't bodybuilders, they're just normal people and they have other priorities, and we have to accept that, and then maybe they'll come back to us in the future. So it's best to let them go in a nice way.
Coaching can sometimes be a luxury, and when it comes to the choice between paying your mortgage or paying for coaching, take your mortgage. That's probably the one you want. Like you don't want to be jacked, but like not have a home. So
yeah, that's not really useful. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, because like I think for us, we see coaching as kind of like an integral part of our budget, and it's just like one of the top priorities. But for other people, it's not, and it's as you said, a luxury if they can do it once all their other bills and rent is paid.
Yeah, I think it's a double-sided argument there. So like, one, obviously life has to come first, right? So say you're in a situation, you just give, like your wife's just given birth to twins, and your wife's not working, all of a sudden your budget's lower, that you're not going to be able to afford that luxury. And if a coach is saying you need to want it, like that doesn't really work there. You need to make that work. You need to make your own budget work. So like that whole sales trope isn't really the one there. But then again, if you're in another situation, whereas take me for when I worked with Joe, I'm going, it's a bit of money I don't really want to spend. You invest it and it's 100% worth it. And anyone that can afford coaching has never gone, I wish I hadn't spent that money. Like it's always worth it, but it has to be on your specific circumstances if you can initially afford that. There's no point getting in debt for coaching. There's no point, like say, putting yourself homeless for coaching. It's a luxury. It's a very important luxury if you can afford it, because it will save you so much time and money in the long run. But you have to bear in mind it's still a luxury.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, if the person can afford it, it's a great way to completely expedite their progress, their results, because they could spend 10 years figuring it out themselves, or they could do it in 1 year with a coach who's knowledgeable and can guide them. But I have heard horror stories from various business mentors who have said on sales calls, you should tell them, well, if it's worth it to you, you should take out a credit card for it, you should get a loan, like all this horrible stuff. And I'm just not about that. Like,
no. I said to you before the call, like the last thing so when I used to work in sales, like I say, I worked with sales for a long time, and salespeople get a very bad reputation in terms of being, it's like people see Wolf of Wall Street and they expect you to hard sell to them. That is not what I've never done that once in my life. I've never thrown a dwarf. I've never done any of those sorts of things. You looked at me, you've not seen the film.
I have seen the film.
You launched a dwarf at one point. I've never been driving Lambos on Ludes. But yeah, I always think it's got to be a professional sell. So I always go on a technical sell. You tell me your issues. I'll say if I can fix them, yes or no. I'll always be honest with the individual, and then I'll give them the outcome for that. I'll say either we can work together, or we can't work together, and I'll always be quite honest with people. The last thing I'm going to do is be like, you need to sign up now. You need to sign up now. You need to take out a loan. You need to do all these things. I think it's very much about, I can help you if you're willing to go ahead with that. But I'm not, I refuse flat out to ever hard sell anyone. And it doesn't sit well with me.
No, yeah. And I just feel that if you're on a call like with a potential client and you believe in your abilities and you can really help them, that should be enough. If you, with conviction, can say, I know that I am the best person to get you to where you want to be, there shouldn't need to be any sales tactics, because that should be enough.
yeah, I always say to my clients, I always say, look, I can guarantee I'll get you results if you're willing to work, but that's as far as I'll go with it. I know I'm confident in what I know and what I can do and what I've done with other clients, but at the same time, I'm not willing to be like, take out a credit card. Not for me.
That's just crazy to me. Like, I just don't understand. Like, that's where, like, a lot of the time the morals are blurred, and like I have very, very strong morals in how I want to coach and how I want to, you know, get new clients on board and stuff like that. And that I draw the line at a lot of stuff because some of it is very shady.
Yeah, I think obviously like there's always going to be elements of that in any industry, so I don't really think it exists within like online coaching. But yeah, I always think I want to run a business that I'm proud of, and that isn't to say that those people aren't proud of their businesses. That's just the way they choose to run their business versus the way I choose to run mine. That's my personal ethical, like, moral compass is pointing me in one direction. That isn't to say that other person's a horrible person to do it the way they do theirs, just not the way I want to do it.
Yeah. And then speaking of your business, so then you have recently quit your job to go full-time with coaching. So is that something that you thought was going to happen, or how did you come about that decision?
Yeah, it's a bit of a funny one. So when Joe was originally talking to me about going like full-time coaching, I was like, no, I'm not interested at all. Love my job. And I genuinely loved my job. I loved working for who I was working for. I was very autonomous. I had all the benefits of being self-employed. So I was basically left to run my own business unit. Obviously, I had to report to the directors and things like that, but I was pretty much left on my own. I ran, recruited, trained, did everything to my sales team that I wanted to do. I was pretty much left on my own. But I was obviously on salary, and I had holidays and company car, all those nice benefits. So I just thought, there's no way I'm going to leave. There's no interest to me. And it wasn't a money thing at all. I was on a good wage. I was more than comfortable. I was very happy. And I just, over time, I think lockdown was really a big factor. I've been like, I've always had this envisaged, like always this life, not a life goal as such, but I've always liked to be free. And lockdown really, it put the brakes on that. I was always able to pretty much work wherever I wanted to, and lockdown stopped that. I had to be in one place. And I thought, I don't ever want to do that again. And I want to work remotely properly, doing something I love. And I was really enjoying coaching. So I thought, right, I'm going to see if I can build this up. And started just, whilst working full time, started building up my coaching business. And it's tough because I was very high up in my last business. There's a lot of hours. Some weeks when a normal working hour at 50 hours. Other weeks it would be I was away for the entire week, and I'd be putting 80, 90, potentially 100 hours some weeks, because you've got a deadline of certain things, and you would not sleep. It would just be work. It would just be work, and it was horrendous. Like, you'd be getting minimal, and it would be all day. So I'm just trying to fit in coaching around this. So it can be very, very difficult, but it's over time, built a bit of momentum. Started obviously putting a lot more time into Instagram, advertising, coaching, started getting more and more clients in. Obviously, had the benefit of having the Physique Collective name behind me. And again, one thing I always say to people is I'm fairly, I've been coaching longer than all the guys in Physique Collective. I just went out of it for a while. So like, I was coaching professional athletes before these guys were probably, because I'm a lot older. So I was coaching professional athletes when I was 20 years old. And obviously, that was 14 years ago. A lot of the guys were like 10, 12. Like that. So like, I've been doing this for a long, long time. I've been, it's not like a new thing to me. It's not like I just suddenly decided this is what I'm going to do. Just getting back into it. And it was just building that up slowly to the point where I got to December last year, and I really had a decision to make, because coaching was doing very well. And I always say to people, in certain situations in your life, you just got to take a leap. You just got to jump. And there's always risk. No matter what you do in life, there's risk of staying still. There's risk of moving. But ultimately, the biggest thing is not risk, it's regret. And I thought, if I don't go now, it may never happen. Like, it's very easy. You see this happen a lot of people as they get older. They make decisions because it's safe. Right. I fucking hate safe decisions. Like sometimes a safe decision, like I'll preface that. If I'm in a car, I'll put a seatbelt on, right? Safe decision. But sometimes you need to take a bit of risk in life in terms of going, I'm gonna potentially risk my safe sales job and move into something that I actually fucking love and give that a go and see if that's gonna work. So I quit my job in December. I was immediately put on garden leave for 4 months. So was basically just told I had to work at home. Well, not working, I just took my work stuff off me. So I had to obviously keep everything quite quiet for quite a period of time. But I used that time just to work on a business really. So everything kind of built up. And yeah, it's all going very, very well at the moment. We've got a great bunch of clients I work with, picking up clients quite regularly at the moment. Obviously, as we spoke about before, now with cost of living increases, it's quite hard for people, but getting a lot of competitors come on board and competing later this year. A lot of really serious lifestyle people like myself who really want to progress themselves. And obviously, one thing I talk about a lot is mindset. I've had a lot of people, because I think there's like a massive hangover of mental health from lockdown. A lot of people want to talk about that as well. So a lot of consults and that sort of stuff. Again, just to be clear, I'm not a psychologist, so I can't give clinical advice, but a lot of people just want to talk to. So yeah, it's kind of built up from that, but it was taking that big risk. It wasn't even a risk really, it was just a perceived risk of going from a safe situation to something new. But since I've done it, I've just been absolutely loving it. It wasn't really that exciting when I did it, because I was like, okay, I'm still working, just doing something different. Like, I've always worked from home, so that's never changed. It wasn't like I had to pack my box up in an office and go. It was like, well, I haven't got my work laptop anymore, it's just my other laptop. So
wait, you're telling me that video was staged? Because I won't believe it.
I tell you what, so I live in Cheltenham, right, and I'm right next to this like big office block. And I got Jake, who's a videographer for Physique Collective. I hired him for, it wasn't wasting company money, I was wasting money.
Okay.
I was like, Jake, I've got an idea for this video because I think it'd be quite funny, because everyone takes themselves so seriously. And I thought this would be quite funny, right? And there's this big office, and there was probably about 30 people out there having their lunch break. And I was like, we've got to do it now. But it was like the sunlight was there, and we felt like it was back in December. So we're like, we haven't got much hours in the day with sunlight here. So I've got one shirt, I've got one take this fucking video now. But yeah, nailed it as far as I'm concerned. We had people looking at me, who's this dickhead ripping his shirt open on camera? And I was like, that's me, mate.
I wanted to do something similar with when I got my laser eye surgery, because I have my glasses still. I'm like, I need to do something really dramatic with them, but they're still there. I'm like, should I throw them into the canal, or I don't know.
What you do the old Superman, go into a phone booth, right? And then he throws his glasses away, doesn't he? Throws his glasses away because he didn't need them. Just take the glasses off. All of a sudden, you're Superwoman.
Okay, yeah, I need to do something like that, because I've always been. I remember I saw Brandon Harding did a video on his laser eye surgery, and then he went to the top of this really like picturesque snowy mountain, and then he like threw them off the mountain. I was like bawling because I hadn't got it done. I'd already like booked mine. I was like, oh my god, this is so emotional.
Just do the Titanic. It's like, do you know, they throw it from the boat.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something I thought that'd be good. But yeah, no, that was a good way to signify the end of your normal office life.
Yeah.
It can be hard, like, to go when you're so used to having this salary that's coming in no matter what, to then going it on your own, and then it is a bit scary because there is that lack of stability, and it is all down to you.
Yeah, the thing is, I've always worked in sales. It's always kind of been on you anyway. Like it's very much like the harder you work, the better you do. And I think I've had exactly the same mindset as I've got into coaching. I'm like, well, it's another business. I need to treat this professionally like it is a business, and it is a business. It's my job. I think I've seen too many people go into this and go, right, I'm living the dream now. YOLO. It's like
laptop life.
Yes, it's still a fucking business. You've still got to work. You've still got clients who want to get results. And that's my job, is to get the results. And that's my job. So like, I'm up in the morning, I've got a routine. Because if I don't have that, like, I feel like I'm not doing my job properly. And that's really, really important. I think you've got a lot more flexibility, but I've always had flexibility with my job. I've always been able to nip out during the day because I'm working in sales, right? We've always got the flexibility. So for me, nothing's changed. I've always had that structure to be able to go and do that. I just don't, like, I've never had a boss who's watching me. It's always been me. And I've been the boss the last 4 or 5 years. So it's no different. It's just doing what I love daily rather than doing something for someone else.
And then how do you structure your day then? Because obviously it can be, as you said, like for new coaches who have never had to have any sort of routine before, might find it hard to implement some sort of routine into their day.
So I'm not like huge into like morning routines. Like I see people go,
journaling.
In the morning I journal, I meditate, I have a ice cold bath, I do my yoga, and I'm so I just think, fuck off.
Like gratitude log.
Yeah, like if you do that, it works for you. I'm not mocking you. I think, is that you preaching that you do that, or you actually, like, if you get benefit from it, crack on. If I was to get up and meditate in the morning, I fall back asleep. So for me, Mum, I try and wake up every day like similar time. I try to wake up at 7. Some days I know I've got a really busy day. Like Mondays, I always wake up a bit earlier, so I'll do my check-in. And Mondays and Fridays are like usually my busiest days. I've got a lot of clients in Australia, so they tend to get their check-ins today. So I've got 8 check-ins from Australia, and that's like the first thing in the morning. So I always want to try and get them back. Plus my UK clients, it's like, well, there's a lot of people checking on Monday. So I always try and start early. But I always want to front load my day, because I tend to find I'm a bit more productive in the morning. So I'm smashing my coffee, because I love coffee, and then just try and get everything done. Then I usually train around about 2. So my day is usually done about 2 o'clock. I start at 6. So it's like, yeah, I'm done at 2, but I've also started probably 3 hours before most people have thought about doing that. So I think actually I've kind of done my day there. I go and train, and then usually it's my like evening tasks. So the morning for me is like in the business, and the evening is on the business. If I don't work every evening, I'm not that guy, but like I'm used to working like in sales. You get out what you put in. I'm used to working in the evenings, so like every now and then, like once or 2 nights a week. It was every day when I started, but now I've got a better routine. I'm going to do things like this is technically work on me, but it's not. It's something I enjoy doing. So I always make time for a podcast. I love it. If you haven't guessed, I quite like talking. But I get people on this shot. Or just doing some learning or something to work on the business. So I think your routine helps, but I think it's the one thing that I see I struggled with when I started in sales was thinking I had to work all the time and also spending time hard working. So do you know what Parkinson's law is?
Yeah.
Yeah, Parkinson's law is the
most true law ever.
Yeah, you're going to take as long as you've got the time allocated to do a task. So like this, everyone remembers this from school. If someone said you've got 2 weeks to do an essay, you'll take 2 weeks. If someone said you've got a day, you'll take a day. You will take as long to do a task as the time allocated to it. So if you give yourself 3 hours to do a job, you'll do it in 3 hours. Make sure that you blocked it for time. Because if you give yourself all day to do something, you will take all day. And everyone's guilty of that. I'll just do my check-ins today. Guess what? All day. And you've ended up working not a lot in that time. So I think that's probably the number one thing, is actually having some structure and creating little brackets of time. But I've got a little thing here where I try and block off my time, do my check-ins, and that is obviously not perfect, but at least it gives me a structure to work on the day. But yeah, certainly my morning routine is not ice cold shower, meditate, all that sort of stuff. I just get up, shower, coffee, go on with it.
Yeah, to be honest, the one benefit of Joe not ever removing my cardio in off season is because it gives me something to set up my day. So I get up, I like get ready, go do my cardio in the apartment gym, and that just sets me up for the day. Whereas, so it is good that I have that routine still in, because otherwise, like in off season, you can get a bit slack with your mornings.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm terrible. I don't like leaving the flat in the morning, because I always think I'm behind the day. And I know it sounds like a bit of a bad mentality, but it works for me. Some people, they like to win the day to start with.
Yeah.
For me, I just get up and get on it, because then I've got the day for me later. But whereas some people like to get up, go for a walk, clear their head. Like I'm maybe a bit weird, but do you know when people say I couldn't sleep, my mind was worried? Never had that. My brain is always empty of stress. So I don't really ever get that. I just go to bed or I wake up and I've got stress around me. If you're the sort of person that has stress, absolutely go for a walk, or if you need to like settle yourself before the day. But I think this again goes back to that point about saying what works for individual. I prefer just get up, get to work.
Yeah. I'm kind of the same. Like I am a very stressy person, but I do better alleviating stress by just getting the stuff done that I'm worried about, rather than going for a walk and delaying it or kind of try to put it off. But I kind of, at the moment, because I still have a full-time job, I still have to manage my time quite well. So when I'm doing my cardio, I'm like replying to my clients and like maybe doing my Instagram posts. And when I'm doing my walks, I'm doing the same things, because I have to maximize all the minutes of my day.
That's a weird, that was the only weird bit for me going full time, was I have to plan time to put posts up. That was the only weird thing I thought was like, this is weird. Like, this is actually like, I need to view Instagram as work now.
Yeah, like content creation is a part of the job now.
And that was a weird one for me, because I don't really like social media. As in, like, I do, because I met some of the best people in my life from it. But I'm also like, I couldn't give a fuck how many likes I get on a photo. I could not care less. The only thing I care about is, are people seeing my stuff, and is it going to help anyone, and is it going to bring clients over to me, if I'm being completely honest. And also, like I say, I met some of the best people in my life from it, but I don't get that gratification from it. Obviously, everyone likes a like, right? I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it means nothing to me. But realistically, like, I couldn't tell you how many likes I get on a photo. I couldn't tell you, because it's not a metric I actually care about.
Yeah.
But so that for me, so like making time for social media was a weird one. Like going, I need to make time for this. Like little things that really baffle me. Like in a photo, I'll just stand there and just smile. But people are like, you've got to get the angle on them. I'm like, everyone knows I go to the gym. Like, I don't need to fucking flex in a photo. Like, oh, they got the angle on you. I was like, I can't give a fucking get the photo with my mate. Yeah. It's me and my mum. Get the angle on her. I just stuff like that. That's the bit of coaching that kind of baffles me a little bit. I'm like, I don't know. That sort of stuff doesn't bother me.
But what you probably find, because the videos you put out are really, really informative, they probably get less likes than a picture of your check-in or like a photo, like a physique photo. Oh, but I'm sure you get way more client inquiries from them and interest, even though they have less likes. So it's a metric that's not really useful to us.
Yeah, I kind of say this to a lot of people, is like, if I put out an educational video, again, I'll have a look. I don't even know how many likes to get, but it won't be a great deal. So, I mean, I actually have to go and look on my stories now to give you an answer here. Okay, so in terms of like likes on one of them, we're getting like, let's say 50 to 100 likes on a video, whereas I'm getting like 100 to 300 on another picture, which is like, say, 10% of my following. It's probably like a considerable amount less. It's at least at a very best half. So a lot of people would look at that and go, well, it's just not worth doing those videos. But for me, it's like, well, that's actually what I enjoy doing, is educating and talking to people and putting out quality information. And that is actually, to me, what brings people in. Because I put out constant videos and people go, oh, I really like that video you did on that. Can we get a chat about call that coaching? And that's what matters to me is, firstly, like Mindset Mondays. Have I ever got a client for a Mindset Monday? No. But does it help people? Yes. And I love that. And I will always put them out, because every week I get people saying that really helped me today. So that means more to me than someone going, like. So it's like, what metric are you looking for? And like, I think it was Gary Vaynerchuk. I'm a bit indifferent with Gary Vaynerchuk. Some of his stuff's amazing, some of it's not. But they were saying, what's the return? Like, people saying, what's the return on investment on this thing? He was like, what's the return on investment of your mum? Like, you couldn't possibly try and give an ROI on your mum. It's just your mum and you love her. So sometimes you just need to put stuff out there that you love, and someone's going to get enjoyment for that. But could you quantify how much investment or return on investment you're going to get from that? No, but it works.
Yeah, I think the likes and everything are definitely like vanity metrics that don't really matter. What I've kind of learned is like, yes, I can get loads and loads of likes if I put up a photo shoot picture of me in my underwear, but is that going to necessarily help anyone, or is it going to bring me any new clients that I can help, or is it going to, is it going
It's
to
a
reach
bit
someone on a
both,
deeper level?
because
Not necessarily.
it's a bit of both, isn't it? And I always think like, if those pictures of me out having a good time, or me with my shirt off, and bringing people in and get eyes on educational content that's going to help someone, you need a bit of both.
Yeah.
Right. And again, like, obviously my video when I left my job, it wasn't anything educational. I did it for a laugh.
Yeah.
But that's going to get people to look at my other stuff, which is my educational stuff. But the other side of things is it doesn't have to be that serious all the time. Like, sometimes I just want to put up, like, I don't know, some bullshit of like me and Joe Ballinger fucking messing around with some anti-snore nose plugs, which we just thought was fucking hilarious. Or like, I just want to put up me having a coffee. Like, this is the sort of stuff I do daily, that some people are actually interested in. Like, people actually like to know. Oh, there's some stuff that I didn't realise is a thing. Like, I remember I put up like I was talking about how to get the inside of the lettuce, a lettuce head. If you smack the core, it comes out.
Oh.
So like, say, do you know, like a lettuce,
Yeah.
it's like the hard at the bottom. If
Yeah.
you smack it on the counter, you can pull it out.
Oh.
And I did a video on that, and people were like, holy fucking
Mind blown.
Like, I just put a life hack out there.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like, obviously you need your attention grabbing photos, which is like the physique ones, or you going out and having fun and stuff like that, to bring them in for the education. But then it also is important to be relatable as well, to show that you're just a human, just like everyone else.
And that's something I've kind of had to do, like, get better at, and I'm still not like fantastic, because again, I don't really like social media. I don't like putting my entire life out there. Some people are very like happy to just put their entire life out there, whereas like, if I go to my mum's, like, I don't want to be like, here's my mum. I want to be there. I want to be like in the moment with my mum. And a lot of the time I miss opportunities to get photos because I'm actually just with the person having a great time. I went to my mates in North Wales a couple of weeks ago. I got one photo of like literally that's water, because I thought it looked cool, just to prove I'd been there. Like, I missed the rest of the weekend because I was there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm shit at this. But it's trying to be like, you want to put more content out there, which is difficult sometimes, where you just want to be present. And that's kind of like one of the reasons I don't like social media to some degree, is I like being present. Just want to be there.
Yeah, it's like an analogy my mum used to use is when she used to go to our school plays when we were little, and she'd want to record it, but if she recorded it, she couldn't actually experience it in real life, so she didn't like recording it. So she'd watch it, but then she wouldn't have the memories. It is kind of like difficult to.
It's like fireworks displays. No one in the world is going, I'm going to watch that fireworks display back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, I'll watch that back on my phone. Like, you're going to miss how good it looks in real life.
Or even like concerts, like anytime I've never rewatched a concert through my phone because it's shit through your phone. It's not the same.
But I'd say at the same time, you need to sort of get people in. And like, Christian is very, very good at that. Like, he's very relatable, and people buy into that. And I think he's incredibly good at putting himself out there in that situation, so people buy into him.
Yeah, they fall for his personality, because he is such a big personality, and he doesn't give a shit, and he just says it as it is, and he calls people out if he wants to, which, so people kind of admire the honesty that he has.
Hilariously so.
I could not do what he does. Like, I just wouldn't have the nerve.
The thing is, I don't give a fuck, but I'm also very professional.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, like, I don't want to burn bridges, but Christian's like, light that bitch on fire.
I don't care. But it's working for him.
He loves it. He loves it. It's funny to watch. But I think that's why, I'll tell you what, the funny thing about Physique Collective, right, is you've got me, Joe, Christian, and Gareth. Gareth an angry Scotsman. Christian's an angry Walsalian. So I'm not going to say he's from Birmingham, he's from North Birmingham. But those two have got like quite a short temper. And there's me and Joe who are like quite calm. So I think it works really, really well, because you can't always be calm, but you can't always be up there. So we manage each other very, very well. Yeah. And sometimes they can bring the heat when it's time to bring the heat. When it's time to go full corporate, I could be a briefcase wanker. and when it's time to be calm, like we've got that as well. So I think we all manage each other quite well. But it is quite funny when someone like goes off on one, you're like, holy shit.
I enjoy how easy it is to trigger Gareth if you want to. Anytime you feel like it.
I've worked with a lot of Scots people, and when you first meet them, you think, oh, they're quite scary. It's like, Gareth is one of the nicest guys ever. It's got a bark on him, and it's because he's Scottish. Everything sounds more aggressive when you're Scottish.
Oh, I love it. It's such a nice dynamic though. Like even in our group chat of all of us together, we all just bounce off each other and work so well. And we're all quite different in our personalities and where we've come from and our backgrounds, but we all work so well together, which is cool.
Well, I think going back to the Physique Collective thing, it's quite cool that everyone's obviously, what I find a lot of people do in bodybuilding is they've come from like I want to say relatively normal life, because in bodybuilding, everyone thinks bodybuilding is everything, but 99% of people haven't got a fucking clue what bodybuilding is. So you stand on stage, basically painted in run seal in some pants. Okay, cool. And they don't really get it. I imagine trying to explain it to your parents was quite funny, because I tried to explain it to my mum. Like, it's a different world, right? So they've come from this situation where all their mates are like, what the fuck do you do? And they've stepped into a realm where they haven't really probably got any mates, or they've been mates who are competing. That's one thing I love about Physique Collective, is like you said, we've got all the guys from different backgrounds and stuff, but they've all got this combined love of quote unquote bodybuilding, let's just call it that. And everyone can get on because of that. And everyone's got different personalities, but they've got this shared experience that everyone can click with. And you can share this, share the pain of it, kind of thing. You've always got this shared experience, which is very, very powerful.
Yeah, you like enjoy the fact that everyone's all a bit crazy at the fact that we do this to ourselves on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's funny though. There's like, misery needs company, isn't it? Like,
yeah, literally, because I'm sure normal people are like, why do you do that every day? Like we enjoy going to the gym and like killing ourselves and feeling the pain, and everyone else doesn't want to do that. It's just
but I try not to judge any people of my.
No, not at all. My dad is funny though, because I tried to train my dad in lockdown, and like I would try and get him to push a little bit hard, and he would just be like, no, it's hard now, I'm going to stop.
And to be fair, you can't argue with him. What are you doing? This is stupid. This is stupid what we're doing. But yeah, so we're going to, so you're telling me I'm going to pay to use a facility to lift stuff to hurt myself? Yeah. It sounds horrible.
I know, it doesn't make sense. We're like, yeah, we'll do it every day, no issue.
I'm losing money and I'm getting hurt at the same time. So and you're telling me I can just be at home in the warm watching TV? Yeah, I'll go for that one. But yeah, it's crazy how we all fall in love with it. But it's a cool little community, and I'm incredibly proud to be part of it, I've got to say. Yeah,
me too. I feel really happy to be part of the family and the community, and you just feel like you're always looked after because you're part of something bigger. Because when I was doing coaching on my own, it's obviously nice to have your own business, but at the same time, it is quite isolated. You are all on your own and everything's up to you. Whereas even it's nice to consult with you guys. If anyone has a question about a client, everyone shares their knowledge, and that's quite nice to have that backing there as well.
Yeah, the crazy thing is that it's one of my, I like a quote, honey, so it's one of my quotes. A rising tide floats all ships. Mm-hmm. So you could look at this in the most basic sense, because we're all coaches, we've all got our own coaching businesses. Even the directors of Physique Collective, we're all coaches, we're all technically competitors, mm-hmm. right? And it'd be very easy to not want other people to do well, and that's not it at all. What we've got, and this goes again for the likes like the pro coach guys. Love them all, brilliant guys. Went to their seminar the other day. Tom Haing's very good mate of mine, Evolution Training. There's a lot of coaches I'm friends with, and never once has that affected a friendship. Everyone wants everyone else to do well, and that's something really quite rare. Because in the Physique Collective, we've got a lot of coaches. We could all be. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to keep all that information for myself. Everyone's very willing to help everyone else. Everyone else grow their business, help the business, give answers to questions, give knowledge. And that is something, again, that and I haven't created this. It's just something that we've all, the amalgamation of people in the pot, we've all created. That is a situation where everyone can be open and honest and share those things, and no one's trying to fuck anyone else over. And trust me, I've worked in organizations where that is the culture, and they try and fuck everyone over. And I don't know if you've ever read any work by Simon Sinek.
Mm.
You know who that is?
No.
He's like an American marketer. You'll see his videos on Instagram. He's quite famous. The one that everyone knows him for is, you go to the gym, you come home, and you'll see nothing. After a week, you'll see nothing. He's that guy, right? He's an incredible marketer, but he's got a book, quite a lot of books on leadership and culture and all these things. They all start with why. And it's about, in a lot of businesses, you're always given KPIs and you're given all these metrics to determine how good someone is. But they don't ever look at the culture. They don't ever look at how trustful that person is, how much you can incorporate like the ethics of that person. There's no KPIs for those things. That's just a culture. They call that culture. And that's something we somehow, again, from all the people that we surrounded ourselves, built this environment, where we've got a really good culture. Everyone wants to see everyone else do well. And I think that's another reason people probably maybe gravitate towards us a little bit, is because we're not that stereotypical backstabby, bitchy industry, which can there are small pockets of the industry which get that bad name, which tarnishes the rest of it. We haven't got that.
Yeah. And even like if you go into our member site, into the forum, we have coaches on there asking us our opinions all the time. We're always happy to help. Like if they have a client they need help with, or if they need some training to be talked about, or nutrition strategy to explain, or some PED thing, we're always there to help them. So there's no rivalry there at all. All we want to do is give advice and help.
I just love helping people. I know you're the same one. You love helping people. It's so I don't know, there's something really satisfying about it, isn't there? Like, I just want to hear people do well. It's just, I think again, that's something really cool. We managed to create.
Yeah, like
I can't take all the credit, by the way, for this. The people we've had around us.
Yeah, no, both myself and Matt have like an Ask Matt Anything, Ask Holly Anything thread in the forum, and I love it. Like I love when people ask me really intricate questions about training and like deep exercise mechanics things, and how does this change this, or you know, what's your opinion on this, that and the other. And I love answering that, and I always give lots of time to in-depth answers to them, because I appreciate that other people are going to that effort to ask such an in-depth question, because some people wouldn't bother, you know.
No, I do like Q&As on my Instagram every week, two Q&As a week, and some of the questions, it's always like drug, nutrition, training, mindset stuff, and any way I can help. And again, the Mindset Mondays for me are one of my favorite things to do, because you can see an impact. Like I don't get anything from that, but I fucking love doing it. It's cool. I guess that's why everyone goes into coaching. Like, this is why I see people go into coaching for the right reasons or the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Like, some people go into coaching because I can earn this money, or those people probably aren't going to be around that long. No. Or you go into coaching because you fucking love coaching, and you love helping people, and it's like, you're probably going to be, you've got the right reasons for it.
I think people don't understand, like when they see on Instagram, coaching is tough. Like it's a tough job. Like it looks really easy when there's people off in Dubai, and like, you know, they say they're living on their laptops on the beach and stuff like that, and that's all well and good, but if you have a lot of clients, you have to attend to a lot of clients, and if they have big goals like photo shoots and shows, you need to be there for them all the time and call the shots and make decisions very quickly, very rash. And it can be hard to keep up with all that. So people need to realize that, like, it's not like I want an easy life, I'll be an online coach, because it is a tough job.
It's a job. Again, is what I mentioned before. People go, oh, that's cool. I say, don't get me wrong, it's a fucking cool job. I love it, right? And I'm, again, very, very proud of everything that I've done and we've done and things like that. But it doesn't fucking matter if you don't do your job. And that's kind of it. And it is a job, and you can't just give up on that. Like, sure, you could be anywhere in the world, but I'll tell you what, your desk looks the same anywhere else.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. You'll be in like four walls of a room regardless. So,
well, yeah, I'm hoping to go over to Thailand and Australia, because I'm hoping to do some seminars over in Australia later this year. I've been asked to go out by some clients or in gyms. And I was like, that'd be cool. But in my head, I'm thinking, right, how am I going to juggle that work-wise?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going away in a couple of weeks, So I'm going away to Corfu and Malta in the next month. I'm still working.
Mm-hmm.
I still need to work. So I'm just thinking, right, how am I going to structure my day so I get my work done? And I'm going away with my sister. I said, like, some days I'm going to need that. You're going to have to go off and do your own thing because I need to work.
Yeah.
And that's why people think they see this very romanticized view of it. And like, the thing you don't realize on my coach is you're never having a day off.
Mm.
Really. Like, I try not to work at weekends. I say what I mean by that is I try to do check-ins at weekends. I still do 10 or 15 check-ins over the weekends. Those are my days I don't do check-ins.
Yeah.
I do all day, and I'm obviously on your phone. Like, I try and limit that because, especially if I'm with my family, I try and minimize that, and I set the expectations with my clients early. But you can't ignore them. Like, even on Christmas Day, I say to the clients, like, feel free to, if you're having a fucking freak out about food, message me. I don't want to be working on Christmas Day, but I will check my phone because you need to. You can't have a normal holiday again, really, because you're working. So there is that trade-off. Now, that is definitely a worthwhile trade-off for me. But these are things where people like they romanticize that view. Oh, I don't have to work. I can be anywhere in the world. No, you still got to work. Like, you still got to work.
Yeah, and you'll lose your 25 days of annual leave per year.
And that was genuinely one of the reasons I was like, do I go into coaching full time? Because when you're employed, when you go away, you ain't looking at your laptop, you aren't working, you're on holiday. You haven't got that anymore.
Yeah.
And like, you got to decide if that's a fair trade for you.
Yeah, you have to love it. It is a passion thing. It's a vocation that if you're in it for the money, you will drop off quite quickly because it is tough and you do have to put the work in it and you have to be passionate about it at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, this is it. But again, I wouldn't change it for the world if I can love it, but it's not always the way you, like, it's not winning the lottery. So if I won the lottery, no one's working again at it. But you're still doing something you love. You always got to choose your pain.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So that has been a very good discussion. I don't know how long that is, but we've run over quite over.
You're the one recording it. I've got no clue.
But I don't know even where it says how long it's been recording. I don't think it says. But closing off, in terms of like the Physique Collective, what do people have to look forward to for the future? Is there anything in the pipeline for them to look out for?
Yeah, so we just updated our website, our app. So basically we've made that a little bit more streamlined. So we've made it faster, easier to navigate, easier to use. We've got over 120 videos on there. We've had it mocked up today. What we want to start doing is doing 2 weekly lives a week for members. So they're going to be covering obviously live Q&As and also a topic. So one of the coaches will do a topic. Obviously, Holly's going to talk about biomechanics. She's a fucking queen of that. But there's going to be people talking about various things. So I might be talking about, I don't know, one of the things I've been talking a lot about recently is how to combat acne, or how to, even things like how to manage in a corporate world, how to manage your dietary intake. I spent over 200 nights in 1 year in hotels. It's difficult, but it can be done, right? How to navigate these things. Joe might be talking about drugs, etc., etc. So we're doing lives. We've also got some seminars coming back into this year. We will be having a clothing drop because we've been asked for that.
I need more clothing.
Well, I've literally ripped most of my stuff.
I've worn mine to death, though.
We need some more clothing. We had a nightmare on the last launch, so we're just trying to get our suppliers sorted. So that we're basically upgrading our website, so we're going to be having more opportunities to deal with other coaches. So obviously, the likes of yourself, you were to book through the website, offer consultations, all that sorts of stuff. There's quite a few things coming. We're always trying to upgrade. And one thing that people need to realise about Physique Collective, none of us have taken any money out. So all the directors have not taken a single penny out of Physique Collective. So we're actually at a considerable net loss as each individual getting this business going, because this is not something where it is just like people see we've got like fair few members now, and they think, oh, they must be doing well. We've not taken a penny out. Every single penny has gone back into upgrading that service. So we're going to continue to put all our money back in to upgrade, and just make it as good for everyone that's a part of that as possible. I really would love, and we're going to be doing seminars later this year. So to be able to get all our combined knowledge into a room and really pass it on for a decent price to people is going to be awesome. We've got FitX, so we've got a stage at FitX. We're talking at that, which is going to be very cool. And we've got a lot of clients competing this year. So yeah, it should be some very cool stuff coming. I'm sure I've missed something there. But yeah, generally there's always stuff going on, and it's very, 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 very good.
And is the free trial still happening as well?
Free trial is still going. Yeah, it's a 7-day free trial. Thank you, Holly. Terrible job of plugging my own business. So 7-day free trial. So basically what we wanted to do was make it accessible for people to just go on, have a little look what we're about. If they don't really feel it's their vibe, you're wrong, but you can cancel. Or you can just stay a member. So we've actually had quite a few people sign up for that. I think it's in the hundreds of people that signed up for that, which is really cool to see. And I'd like to think most of them want to stay, because again, we've got a lot of content on there. I'm going to be as far as to say, I can't imagine there's not been many websites offering the amount of content that we put on. There's 3 or 4 videos going up per week. And the other thing as well is, if someone says, "Can you do a video on this?" we'll do it. Like we're very, like, because we're quite a low, like a low to the ground company. What I mean by that is, someone can just message me on Instagram. I'm a director. Like, message me. If you want to see, we'll do it. Like, it's not like you've got to go and try and speak to Mark Zuckerberg, right? You can just speak to me. Message me on Instagram. If you want a video, we'll do it. Yeah. Like, that's most of our content. Someone goes, "Oh, can you do a video on that?" Yes, we can. But I used to do a big series on injections, because people are like, "How do you inject?" I'm like, "I'll show you." Yeah. And it's like, there's nothing off topic. Like, we're happy to talk about anything. Like, there's no topic off bounds. Yeah, there's such a diversity of topics that we have on the site. Oh yeah. I mean, some of the stuff I've been asked to talk about, which are potentially out of my scope, is like how to get over a relationship, how to online date, and I was like, probably beyond the scope of a Physique Development website. But yeah, we'll maybe keep it in just Physique Development stuff, but we'll go for that. Do an overview of all the dating apps. And I mean, I could. I don't think it'd be done to get out too well. But yeah, no, it's good, and it's only $6.99, so it's very affordable for anyone. Very, very affordable, and that's one thing we want to do as well, is make it accessible for everyone. So it's like no more than Netflix subscription. It's like 2.5 coffees a month. It's very, very cheap. And the level of knowledge you're going to get for that cost, you're not going to find anything like that on the internet. And that's again something we're proud of, is the fact that we made this for the knowledge we're charging, for the knowledge we're giving. We could charge a lot more, but that kind of defeats the object of what we're trying to do. Yeah, like if you think about it, like not only do we have the video library of all the content there and all the topics, but you have the forum as well. So if there isn't a thread there, you can create one yourself for a question. You have direct access to all of us, whereas like trying to book a consult with Joe would be God knows how much for an hour of his time, whereas you have direct access to him for $6.99 a month. Ask him as many questions as you want. So it's definitely a massive reward for what you put in. I had something the other day, they just said, "Can I book in a consult?" And I was like, "Look, I don't want to be a cock, but it's like, that's a lot of money. Like, you're looking at over £100 an hour to booking my time. Ask a question. Yeah. If you want the answer to just that question, I'm not going to charge you £100 for that. Just ask them. Sign up to the website and ask. Like, you'll save yourself over £100. Do that. Yeah, it's definitely a worthwhile investment. So yeah, we're at www.physiquecollective.com, and there's also an app that you can get on Apple. Is it on Android as well? It's on Apple and Android. And Android. So we are everywhere. And I'll leave. It's fucking weird going on and seeing like your own app on your phone is weird still. I find that very odd. It's very cool though. It is really good, and the app is like always improving in terms of its interface and how user friendly it is and how fast. And yeah, again, all the money goes straight back into business, so always trying to improve it. Yeah, I'll leave links to it anyway. Sorry. You're doing a great job selling it, thank you. Well, it's in my best interest as well. People want to go on and ask me questions, and I love that. I love being on the forum. I think it's so much fun. So love it. Well, listen, thank you very much for having me on. I really appreciate it. No problem. It's a genuine pleasure. It's nice to come on your podcast after you're on ours. It's very cool. Yeah, God, yeah. If anyone wants to go back and listen to me on the Physique Collective podcast, I did that back. Queen. But it's been fantastic. I think you've had some amazing guests on the podcast, so I'm very, very excited to see who you're going to have on next.
Yeah, you just have to put yourself out there and just email people and see what they say, because the worst they can do is just not reply or say no. So you might as well. I have Josh Bridgman's coming on this week, as well as Eric Helms, which would be cool.
I absolutely love Eric Helms.
He's fab. I love him. I love how sarcastic he is. It's great.
I've been following him for years.
Yeah, he's great.
And he is, so you can thank him for the reps in reserve, because he originally got that. So I don't know if you know much about the research, you looked into that, but it originally started with Mike Teixeira from Reactive Training Systems, who used to use an RPE scale for all his powerlifting training. And then Eric went and did his PhD in reps in reserve, and that's where the whole reps in reserve thing came from. Was Eric Helms diving into that with help Mike Teixeira refining his RPE system.
There you go. I'll thank him for you.
Honestly, I think he's amazing.
Yeah,
he's one of the top boys, and he's very, very rare in the industry in the fact that he can look at both sides of an argument. Mm-hmm. He's very well thought out in his answers. I rate him very highly, so I'll definitely listen to that one. Yeah, no, that should be coming out the next couple of weeks. But yeah, so sorry, I'm definitely checking that one out.
Yeah, good. Well, you should be listening to all my podcasts anyway.
I've got all my Australian clients onto your podcast as well.
Really?
They attended the day, they loved it.
Oh, cool. Okay, tell them I say thanks. So yeah, so guys, thank you so much for listening. So if you did enjoy the podcast, I would love if you could take a screenshot, put it on your story, tag myself, I'm at Holly Davidge, and Matt, who's at Matt_Physique Collective. Let us know if you enjoyed it, what you thought, and if you do have any suggestions or any guests you would like to have on the podcast, I'm always more than happy to take any recommendations or requests. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Until next time, we will see you soon.